I never believed in love at first sight. To me, it sounded like a fairy tale, something people told themselves to make their stories more magical. But then, I saw her. It was an ordinary day, gray skies, people rushing to work, the city alive with its usual chaos. I was sitting in a small cafe, distracted by my phone, when she walked in. She didn't even notice me. She was just there to order coffee, lost in her own thoughts. But the moment I looked at her, something inside me shifted. It felt like the noise of the world went silent, as if everything else faded into the background. Her smile, it wasn't meant for me, just for the barista who made her laugh. But it was enough to burn into my memory. For the first time in years, I felt alive. I didn't even know her name, yet somehow, I knew, she was about to change my life. Days turned into weeks, and I kept seeing her. Fate, or maybe just coincidence, kept bringing us to the same cafe, the same streets, the same places. And one day, I finally had the courage to speak. It started with something simple, a comment about the weather, a nervous smile. She looked at me, surprised, but then, she laughed. That laugh became my favorite sound. Soon, one conversation turned into two, and then into hours that felt like minutes. Her name was Anna. She loved books, music, and painting late at night. She had this way of looking at the world as if everything held beauty, even the things most people overlooked. Being with her felt like breathing fresh air after years underwater. I didn't even realize it at first, but she was becoming the center of my world. I wanted to know everything about her, to understand what made her laugh, what made her cry, what she dreamed of when she couldn't sleep. And the more I learned, the deeper I fell. I used to think love was complicated. But with her, it was simple. It was in the way she touched my hand when we crossed the street. The way she listened to me when I spoke, as if my words truly mattered. The way she remembered the smallest details, my favorite book, the scar on my hand, the song I hummed without realizing. I loved watching her paint. She would lose herself in colors, her face lit by the glow of her imagination. Sometimes she'd catch me staring, and she'd blush, pretending to be annoyed. But deep down, I knew she liked it. We had our first kiss on a rainy night. We were walking home without an umbrella, laughing as the rain soaked us. She stopped suddenly, looked at me with those eyes, and before I could think, our lips met. That kiss, it wasn't just a kiss. It was a promise. A promise that I was hers, and she was mine. And from that moment on, I couldn't imagine a life without her. But love isn't always easy. We were young, full of dreams, but life had its own plans. My career was pulling me in one direction, her studies in another. There were nights when we argued until sunrise, not because we didn't love each other, but because we loved each other too much to let go. She wanted to travel, to see the world. I wanted stability, a future we could build together. Our dreams clashed, and sometimes, it felt like we were standing on opposite sides of a river, reaching out but never quite touching. Yet, no matter how much we fought, no matter how many tears were shed, every morning we still chose each other. I held her close after every argument, whispering, "We'll figure it out. We always do." And for a while, that was enough. Then came the day that changed everything. She had an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime chance to study abroad. I should have been happy for her, supportive, but instead, I was selfish. I begged her to stay, told her that love was more important than dreams. She cried that night, holding me so tightly I could feel her heartbeat. She said, "I love you. But I can't lose myself for us. I need to know who I am, what I want, before I can give you everything." And just like that, she left. I watched her walk away, suitcase in hand, her tears falling as she tried to smile. I didn't stop her. I wanted to, God, I wanted to, but I let her go, believing that if she was truly mine, she'd find her way back. The days after she left were the darkest of my life. Every corner of the city reminded me of her, the cafe, the bookstore, the park bench where we carved our initials. I kept my phone by my side, waiting for a message, a call, anything. But silence was all I got. I buried myself in work, in meaningless distractions, but nothing filled the emptiness. Nights were the hardest. I would close my eyes and hear her laugh, feel her touch, and wake up reaching for someone who wasn't there. People told me to move on, to forget. But how do you forget the person who taught you what love really means? Months passed. Maybe even years, time blurred without her. And then, one ordinary afternoon, it happened. I was sitting in the same cafe where I first saw her, lost in memories, when I heard a voice behind me. "Is this seat taken?" I looked up, and there she was. Anna. Older, maybe a little different, but still the same woman who had stolen my heart. My chest tightened, my hands shook. I couldn't believe it was real. She sat down, smiling nervously. "I thought I could live without you," she whispered. I was wrong. I didn't need explanations, apologies, or promises. In that moment, I knew. Love had brought her back to me. And this time, I wasn't letting go. Life hasn't been perfect since then. We still argue, still disagree, still face challenges. But the difference is, now we know what it feels like to lose each other. And we promised ourselves, never again. Love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about choosing each other, every single day, no matter how hard it gets. And I choose her. I will always choose her. Because she's not just the love of my life. She is my life. And every heartbeat, every breath, every tomorrow I have left, belongs to her.